Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Wednesday night, and welcome to a special town hall here during election 2024. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about during this election season, and certainly with 47 days to go till election day. Obviously, early voting will begin shortly, and we'll be talking about all the issues that matter to you right here, folks, on Jersey First TV. And again, I want to thank you all for tuning in from wherever and however you may be doing so here tonight. As you know, I am New Jersey's premier award-winning journalist, top Latino, as voted on by the Latino Spirit online magazine, along with the United States Latino Affairs Initiative, and certainly now more than ever, folks, I'll continue to be the weapon of mass disruption in Garden State media because my level of honesty is truly necessary in this era of journalistic deception. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's me, Fernando Uribe. Happy Wednesday. I know you're all used to seeing me on Monday nights here on the Jersey First Television Network, but a special town hall is necessary during this election season. And I can't say enough, folks, how privileged I am to join you here tonight. And obviously, for all of you that haven't done so already, what are you waiting for? Make sure you check us out on all of our social media platforms, folks. That is Jersey First TV, of course. Actually, like us on Facebook. And of course, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And for all you YouTube subscribers, take a moment and subscribe to all our wonderful content brought to you by the Jersey First Television Network. Certainly, also, whether you get your podcast on Spotify or SoundCloud, download Jersey First TV and listen, take it with you anywhere at any time, whether you're, maybe going clothes shopping for the kids as the school year has started. Maybe you're going out for drinks with friends, maybe waiting for the light rail, waiting for an Uber. Maybe you're just doing errands, walking your dog. Whatever it is you're doing, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pretty sure you're on your smartphone, maybe with a tablet or a Mac or PC. Do us a favor. Download Jersey First and listen to it, obviously, on Spotify or SoundCloud, anywhere at any time. And folks, I always say it every week, but it bears repeating on this show all the time. And again, what a privilege it is to be on the dream team of Garden State Media. That's right, folks. It's Jersey First TV, always educating and advocating for the residents here in the great state of New Jersey. Brand new episodes of the Nader Narrative premiere every Thursday by going to jerseyfirst.org/TV. And also brand new episodes of Bridging the Gap, hosted by AJ Malillo and Stephen Rimbolo, also premiere on Thursdays. And of course, every Monday night, check your local listings. Of course, you can tune into Real Talk with Fernando Uribe via Jersey First TV. Of course, check out the social media for all our guests coming up. Special programming. This Monday night, folks, you can tune in as I will have NJCU Interim President Andres Acebo on the program. A lot to discuss about what's going on at New Jersey City University and much more. Everything going on in higher education, of course, maybe even what's going on during this political season. If you want to tune in this Monday night to Real Talk with Fernando Uribe, as my guest will be NJCU Interim President Andres Acebo. But folks, tonight, listen, if you follow me on social media, you know how adamant I am during this election cycle. 47 days to go till Election Day. Early voting begins in just maybe a couple of days here in the state of New Jersey. And certainly there are choices on the ballot. And certainly when we think about the presidential election, it's as tribal as it's ever been, folks. Certainly a Senate race is up for grabs here in New Jersey. Republicans have a chance for the first time since 1972, during Richard Nixon's reelection year, to possibly elect a Republican to the United States Senate. It's been that long, folks. I wasn't even alive. That's how long it's been. And obviously all 12 congressional districts are up for grabs this November. And certainly a very interesting district is right here in Hudson County. It's the 8th Congressional District in the House of Representatives, folks. Obviously, during the spring, I spoke with the Democrat candidate, the incumbent U.S. Representative Ron Menendez, and join me tonight here during this special town hall. And by the way, folks, like, share, and most importantly, comment this evening. We'll be taking questions from our audience here tuning in during this remote town hall. So drop a nice comment, obviously, and a question if you have it. Drop it in the comment section. We'll be taking questions all night long here on this special town hall with my guest. He is a Republican candidate in the 8th Congressional District, folks. Mr. Anthony Valdes joins us here on tonight's town hall. Anthony, how are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. And again, folks, if you're interested in donating or volunteering for Anthony's campaign, we'll talk more about those social media handles a little bit later. But Anthony, one of the biggest questions I think that people always ask me, because I'm a conservative, a very unapologetic one, and I've been a Republican for as long as I can remember. What drew you to the Republican Party?
Common sense, pretty much. Just common sense. I was a Democrat like most Hudson County people when I was younger growing up. And then around my mid-20s, I figured, hey, listen, this isn't really working out for a lot of people. So I just changed it to Republican. I like the ideologies of the Republican Party, not all of them. I consider myself moderate, but here I am.
When we think about Republicans, right? And I guess
Yes.
it's sort of the modern day. Listen, I'm a student of history. I teach history as an academic, also as a broadcast journalist. I very much, do my homework. Andy, let's be fair, man. It's 2024. It's not even 2004. It's not even 1984. And let's be honest. For example, at the top of the ticket, right, that you're running on, certainly the 45th president is hoping to get reelected, which I think he will in 47 days. But it's a very different Republican than 20 years ago with George W. Bush also trying to get reelected. And certainly in 1984, President Reagan was trying to also get reelected. Three very different Republicans, I think, historically. So when you think about the party and its evolution, you mentioned before you're a moderate Republican. What does that mean for our audience at home that maybe isn't familiar with, quite frankly, what is a moderate Republican?
Well, if my memory's correct, a presidential candidate hasn't won New Jersey since 1988, I believe.
That is correct. Actually, yes, those 14 electoral votes went to George H.W. Bush in 1980. So it's been a pretty solidly blue state, even though there's a lot of pockets that are red. It's been a solidly blue state for well over 20 years.
Yeah, the Republican Party here in New Jersey, the ideology is changing. You have a lot more pro-choice Republicans. You have more Republicans that are into more social services. Obviously, here in District 8, I know a lot of people. As a Republican, the ideology is less government, but a lot of people need that social service help to survive in this world, especially in the Biden-Harris economy.
Certainly, without a doubt, the Biden-Harris economy has been really, I think, the talk of the town when it comes to issues, right? And I think at the end of the day, we talk about what a disaster the economy is. And we'll sort of get into sort of the nooks and crannies of it in a little bit. And folks, again, if you're just joining us, thank you for joining us here during our special town hall here with Republican candidate Anthony Valdes, who's looking to unseat the incumbent, Rob Menendez, coming up on November the 5th. Of course, early voting starting. Folks, as I mentioned before, drop some questions in the comment section. Loved it. I'll get to the questions in just a little bit. And I do see some questions now. All right, we'll get to them in just a little bit. But Anthony, to your point before, the Republican Party obviously has evolved dramatically, right? Again, going back 40 years to Ronald Reagan. I mean, we were certainly still living in a time of the Cold War. The Soviet Union was still a very serious geopolitical threat. I don't think they're as big of a threat as people make it out to be today, 40 years later, but certainly the Soviet Union was a serious issue for the United States. And obviously, we go back to 2004 with George W. Bush, a very different United States. Obviously, what we've come to learn about George Bush and his Vice President Dick Cheney, and certainly what led us to war shortly after the tragic events of 2001 on September 11th, obviously. And now even, 20 years later, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have a disastrous foreign policy. Having said that, I think it's, the Republican Party has evolved, but quite frankly, for you in this race, I'm sure you've gone knocking on doors. I'm sure I've seen you at food festivals, at, carnivals and everything else during the summer months and even during the fall now. When people ask you, hey, Anthony, why are you a Republican? Why are you running? And quite frankly, why is it better for me to be a Republican?
Well, I'll tell you why I'm running, and I get this question a lot. But quite frankly, listen, like a lot of people, I tell everybody, listen, I'm not a politician, even though you could say I'm trying to be. I'm not a rich businessman. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. None of those things. I'm an average guy. I'm the common man for the common people. And like most Americans today, I'm just fed up and sick and tired of the nonsense and the incompetence in our nation's capital. We're supposed to be the strongest, most powerful country in the world, the United States of America. But it sure doesn't feel like that sometimes. We have so many issues brought on by the Biden-Harris administration and the Democrats that support them, whether it be inflation, the southern border, spike in crime, or being on the brink of World War III. We need a real change. Although I understand we're probably the most divided we've ever been in this country, probably since the Civil War. So it's going to be interesting. The next month and a half is going to be very interesting, not only here in District 8, but in the whole country as well.
I don't disagree whatsoever. I think that there are so many issues right now that are dominating this election cycle. But I think even here in Hudson County, and to your point before, for a lot of us, we grew up Democrats, right? It's the
thing to do. It's the thing to do.
Yeah, it's as blue as Windex here.
Yeah.
Right. But people that I talk to, and I travel all over Hudson County, all over the state, obviously in my capacity as a broadcast journalist, what's interesting is people come up to me and say, Fernando, today's Democrat Party is certainly not what I grew up with. And let's be very honest. I mean, Bill Clinton looks pretty moderate today compared to what we're seeing by some of the Democrat Party. Obviously, there's a lot of radical leftists in Trenton in New Jersey, right, the state legislature. But at the federal level, right, in the House of Representatives, I mean, we have some very far left, progressive, even woke representatives in the House that are blatant anti-Semites, that you could tell they never took an economics course. They just think money gets printed without any consequence. And I think that, when we think about Democrats in Hudson County, there's still that, vote blue, no matter who crowd that you're never going to convince when it comes to Kamala Harris, what a disaster she's been as arguably the most unpopular vice president that I can recall in my adult life, who now suddenly is the second coming of Barack Obama. And really, we think about trying to win over blue collar Democrats, because I think that's what I would argue. That's what Hudson County is comprised of. Is that fair to say?
I think it's fair. I personally know, obviously I'm not going to mention names, but I know a lot of Democrats who are voting Trump this November. Like me, they're just sick and tired and fed up with the nonsense. Listen, if Kamala Harris wins, she's going to make Joe Biden look like a Tea Party conservative. I mean, let's get real here. I mean, she's to the extreme left. Most people in general are moderate, whether they're to the left or the right. But she's a very dangerous candidate. And if she wins, we might see some dangerous times ahead. And look what happened today. The Fed cut the interest rates by half of 1 point. I don't know. Maybe they think Trump victory in November. I don't know. Let's see.
I mean, it's so transparent seeing that interest rate change. Like, we're going to fall for that, really? 47 days to go. You couldn't do it.
Yeah, right.
407 days ago, or
correct.
It's really
800 days ago.
No, exactly. I mean, they could have done it. They could have done it on day one, 1,300 days ago. But it seems like the Biden-Harris administration, and again, they know that they have certain enablers in their corner, right? Not just the establishment media in New Jersey, right? And there's so much garbage journalists to talk about. But at the same time, at the national, they know that the left-wing media, the establishment media, is going to, again, as they say, not just carry buckets of water. We're talking about gallons and gallons of water, because it's easier for them to sort of go along than really challenge them. Now, in fairness, we've seen some mainstream outlets that lean very left, like CNN, even call out the Harris campaign about what she's promising, right? But I think that Democrats in Hudson County, and I talk to a lot of Democrats that say to me, hey, Fernando, listen, I can't really put it on social media like you do. I can't really be loud about it like you are. But yeah, dude, I'm voting Trump. I might vote for some Dems, maybe in other ballots or whatever, but I got to vote Trump, dude. I mean, it's ridiculous what's going on. It's funny to me. I just interviewed a very left-leaning progressive council candidate in Jersey City on Monday on Real Talk. And by the way, folks, again, you can check out Real Talk on Monday nights live. Check your local listings, of course. And I just had this really great line, and a lot of people just messaged me after this. Wow, you just said that so fluently. And she, I think, was sort of grasping for straws or for answers. I just said, hey, isn't it funny? The woman running for president is literally saying to your face, yes, you know what? On day one, if you vote me into office, I'm going to fix everything, says the woman who's currently in office. So it's really myopic, I think, for a lot of Democrats in Hudson County that just sort of fall for this propaganda. But it's hard to convince that vote blue no matter who crowd otherwise.
Today's Democrats are not Democrats of yesteryear. They're not our fathers or our grandparents' Democrats. They're not. And like I said, I believe, it's turning. I believe it's shifting. to the right, slowly but surely. People are starting to wake up. Not everybody, but like you said, Fernando, there's a lot of people who will vote blue no matter what. I mean, they could have Adolf Hitler on top of the Democratic ticket. They'll still vote for him because he's Democrat. Doesn't make sense to me, you know. Like I said, I've lived here in West New York my whole life, Hudson County. People are always seeking change. They want something better, yet they keep voting in the same people. Election cycle after election cycle after election cycle. People need to wake up and realize that there's something else out there that's possibly could give you a better government, a better public servant. I've been a public servant. I'm a state employee myself. I've been a public servant for 13 years. I pride myself on giving, all I have 100% day in, day out. I'm an inspector under the Department of Community Affairs. I work on the streets of Newark. So I deal with people all the time. Even people in Newark, I could tell you, a lot of people voting Trump. People think I'm crazy. Trust me. Trump, I know the odds are against it, but Trump, I really believe Trump has a small chance of winning New Jersey. Not a great one, a small one.
Listen, I've looked at some polling, and there are pockets of the state certainly that are very red.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, the biggest challenge for any Republican in New Jersey, whether it's former President Trump, whether it's Curtis Pashaw, who's the Republican nominee for the United States Senate, is, again, you have to sort of overcome the tsunami of really big blue votes, right, in the big cities, right? Jersey City, Elizabeth, Newark, New Brunswick, Trenton, Camden.
Yeah.
I mean, what's interesting is like what they all have in common is that they're all dumps. But I mean, that's a conversation for another day. But again, they're all very heavily urban areas that do get the vote out, and you see a great mobilization within the Democrat Party in these parts of the state. But I will say this, and I've said this on other shows I've appeared on as a panelist, and I'll say it here tonight on the record. I truly think Donald Trump can make this a single-digit race in New Jersey. I think this is as good a chance since, again, George H.W. Bush to win in New Jersey. To your point,
New Jersey for Trump.
Yeah, I think there's a very realistic possibility that a lot of blue-collar, middle-of-the-road Democrats, even independents, will say, you know what? I'm sort of used to voting Democrat. I can't do that right now. Now, again, listen, I would love to see the 14 electoral votes go Republican. I'm not going to put money on it seriously, but I wouldn't be surprised either based on the amount of disenchantment there is for Kamala Harris. Having said that, do you think that because of that apathy, do you think because of that dislike for Kamala Harris that you have a good chance in this race?
No, to be honest, no. Because a lot of people, the district, my district, District 8 is more than just Hudson County. It also encompasses Elizabeth and parts of Newark. Democrats are very good at going to, housing authority buildings, low-income housing, and pretty much I've seen it with my own eyes, just knocking on doors, talking to the seniors, and they do what they're told. It's incredible to me. Like I said before, do I expect? Listen, I expect to get the most votes for this seat as a Republican, probably since the 80s.
Okay.
Because of Trump, because of what's going on with the congressman's father. There's people who want to make it about that. That his father's this, his father's that. Listen, his father has nothing to do with this. All right. And I've told that to everybody. Oh, look what his father did. Listen, his father is not running for the seat. Has nothing to do with this. But a lot of people, I know a lot of Democrats that are not going to vote for him because of that. I mean, that benefits me. Great. But I don't see it as an issue. And the current congressman, I think he's a good guy. I've met him a few times. He's a family man. He's a good guy.
No, listen, I don't disagree. I know Rob personally. I've, had gone to dinner with him. I interacted with him on numerous occasions. He's come on my show many times. And, again, I think that we go back to the springtime. I mean, it was a very heated, very fickle, almost a very, I think, nasty campaign that he had to endure against the mayor of Hoboken, who, let's be honest, folks, I mean, if you ever need a blueprint of what an incompetent mayor looks like, I mean, it's Robbie Bala in Hoboken. I mean, Hoboken's a disaster. folks, if you look at the property taxes, caving to bicyclists and everything else that makes, Robbie Bala cares more about pronouns than property taxes. I mean, that's all I have to tell you about Robbie Bala. But to your point before, again, during this race in the springtime, Rob had to undergo a tremendous amount of scrutiny. And I can't imagine the pressure he was under because of what was going on with his father. Subsequently, we all learned what happened in the court of law, and certainly whatever punishment his father is going to face. Again, that's we'll see what the sentencing judge decides. I think shortly. I think it's early October, if I'm not mistaken. But certainly, I think that a lot of people that I've talked to, again, sort of very progressive Democrats, said, "Listen, Rob might have won. I'm not going to vote. I might just stay home." To your point, that might be beneficial to you in terms of turnout.
Oh, absolutely. There's also 3 independent candidates out there too. Labor, I think it's Labor Party, Green Party, and I think the Socialist Party. Can't believe that even exists. But go figure. Go figure out socialists. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And to your point before, you are right. The 8th Congressional District isn't just comprised of the municipalities in Hudson County, which include Bayonne, East Newark, Guttenberg, Harrison, Hoboken, parts of Jersey City as well, Kearney, which is also in the 9th Congressional District. Yeah. We also have part of Jersey, which is also in the 10th Congressional District. Yeah. But Bergen, Union City, Weehawken, and West Union, of course, and to your point, Elizabeth, the city, and also part of Newark, and also part of Newark that's also in the 10th Congressional. So it's a very diverse district, Anthony. What's been the experience for you going door to door and talking to residents? Because I'm sure that, I know you've been out there. I know you've been knocking on doors. I know you've hosted events. What's been the feedback so far in talking to residents? It's been a positive one so far, honestly, very positive. Unfortunately, there's still a lot more Democrats than Republicans here in the area. But as far as, it's the same answer every time. Oh, I'm voting Trump. The economy is in the tank. They've let in, 10, 20 million immigrants illegally into the country. Crime's up. Look at Ukraine. Look at the Middle East. I'm fed up. I'm voting Trump. And I mean, everybody I talk to pretty much says they're going to vote Trump. They're going to vote red. I'm going to vote red for the first time. I said, by all means, here's a flyer. Thank you. Here's my number. If you want to talk to me, give me a call. If you want to help out, by all means. But yeah, the response has been positive. But again, it's impossible for me, any one person, to knock on over 700,000 doors in the whole district. So I'm hoping for the best.
Folks, again, let's if you're just joining us right now, it's 7:20 here on the East Coast. And tonight, it's a special town hall hosted by yours truly, Fernando Uribe, here, the host and executive producer of Real Talk with Fernando Uribe on the Jersey First Television Network. Again, folks, like, share, and comment. Again, send some questions for our candidate tonight. He's Anthony Valdes. He's running in New Jersey's 8th Congressional District for the House of Representatives. Let's go to some comments here. Obviously, some questions. A lot of great comments. Folks, keep the comments coming and questions as well. Anthony, Michelle tonight. Thank you, Michelle, for tuning in this evening on Facebook Live via StreamYard. What are your thoughts about the ocean wind farms, Anthony?
I know it's a big issue right now. It's off the coast of New Jersey. Like I said, there's pros and cons to everything. It's like Medicare for all, clean energy, things like that. There's issues where it causes issues with aquatic sea animals, sharks, whales. And I'm glad you asked me that, because now that's like a Green New Deal. That's a clean energy source. But I'm going to tell you something that most people agree on. Inflation is probably the biggest issue right now in our country. And in my opinion, the only way to get inflation back down is to become American energy independent. And what does that mean? I know the environmentalists are not going to like what I'm about to say, but we need to start drilling for more oil, more gas, mining for more coal. I know it's a fossil fuel, climate change, all that ugly stuff. But quite frankly, listen, it's the only way to bring down inflation. You bring down the price of energy, you bring down the prices of everything else. Shipping, merchandises, logistics, everything. And while we do that, we invest, we save money, and we invest in clean energy. Because quite frankly, we don't have the infrastructure to just flip a switch and go clean. We don't even have the electrical grid. this country. You know, California has rolling blackouts. Imagine having that in District 8. That's crazy. But listen, we need to invest into clean, sustainable, renewable energy. Because flipping a switch and wanting everything to be electric, that's just not realistic. So we have to look into real, sustainable, renewable energy, clean energy. It's possible, but we need common sense. Common sense in Congress, common sense at the presidency level. Unfortunately, we don't have that right now.
Well, I'm with you. And listen, I'm all about drill, baby, drill. I do not care to import oil. I would rather produce it domestically. And again, for everybody at home, again, I feel like, let me put on my professor hat for a second. It's almost like I have to teach class here. Folks, it's not just about drilling for oil here, because petroleum isn't just about being refined and fueling our cars or other vehicles or fueling our planes. Folks, everyday products are created out of petroleum. Okay, so for all the ladies out there and, you know, all the Green New Dealers and all these activists and the woke crowd that's all about, well, you know, green energy and solar panels and all. Okay, cool. To your point, we can't just do that on a whim. That's going to take a systemic change, and we still do need fossil fuels. Petroleum still is an enormous part of our economy, our manufacturing, our commerce. Okay, hate to break it to people out there. No one's flying any airplanes across the country on solar panels and, you know, electricity. Okay, so let's calm the F down, because I know a lot of people on the left, all the climate hysterics. You know, no one's going underwater anytime soon. The U.S. Postal Service isn't going to sublet a job to Aquaman because that's how we have to deliver mail, because we're underwater. Chill, have a drink, folks. Okay.
If I could say one, if I could say, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
If I could say one thing, listen, if this country starts producing the energy as far as oil, gas, and coal that it can, I mean, you're putting Russia, China, and Venezuela out of business.
Yeah.
And that's, and you know, we're already the greatest country in the world.
Correct.
You know, and, you know, we'll do amazing things if we could do that. And then and only then can we really invest in clean and renewable and sustainable energy. But we need common sense, and we need real legislation to make that happen. And I think that only Republicans can make that happen right now.
Anthony, I'm with you. And shout out once again to Michelle tuning in here on Facebook Live via StreamYard. Thank you, Michelle. Let's get to some other comments here and questions from VPool. And we appreciate you tuning in on Facebook Live, VPool. My apologies if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. Again, just feel free to correct me. What are your views, Anthony, on veterans that really can't get the help that they need and actually want, but somehow all these illegals that are invading our cities seem to be getting a red carpet treatment with hotel stays, with debit cards up to $10,000. Meanwhile, veterans who have sacrificed for our country are getting the shaft, which is not a surprise since, you know, let's be fair, Democrats at the national level would love to sort of replace, you know, a lot of our communities with these illegals. And listen, if you can try to find a way to register them to vote, listen, I wouldn't put it past a lot of them in these big cities, starting with across the river in New York, of course. But what are your thoughts about, obviously, should you get elected on November the 5th?
Yeah.
Right? You take office in January. What do you want to do in terms of addressing the need for care concerning our homeless vets?
Well, I'm going to tell you that this one hits home at a personal level, because my brother was a military vet for 8 years in the Navy. Recently fell on some hard times. Took him to the VA over in East Orange back in December, almost a year ago. And he can't get any help. He needs help. He needs some health. He has some health issues. He needs help. And it's like, you know, you keep calling them, you email them, nothing happens. It's absolutely disgraceful that we have veterans who need help, who put their lives on the line to defend their country, and they can't get help. You have homeless veterans on the streets while you have... It just gets, you know, it's so terrible. It's an absolute disgrace. Let me say one thing real quick about the southern border, okay? I don't blame the people coming here to this country. I know they're looking for a better way of life, but what's happening? And listen, I'm the son of immigrants. Mi papá cubano, vino de Cuba. Mi mamá mexicana. I know you, Fernando. Your parents are from Cuba, correct?
My mom is Cuban. My dad's Colombian. Yes.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. But listen, most people come here for a better way of life. I understand that. But what's happening right now is an invasion. It's an absolute invasion. I mean, we're talking anywhere from 10, 12, 15, 20 million, 20 million people have come to this country illegally. They've been taken to our biggest cities. Those cities are in financial crisis. Yes. Whether it's housing, feeding them, social services, it's taken away from our school system, overburdening our EMS, police, hospitals, school systems. It can't handle it. These blue cities are starting to realize that these sanctuary cities, quote unquote, is just not a good idea. It's just not a good idea. And Democrats, I went to a pro-union rally in Newark a couple Fridays ago, and I'm thinking, I was there 5 minutes and it turned into a Kamala Harris rally. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? I thought this was a labor union rally. And I'm thinking to myself, these unions do not realize that these immigrants that have come here illegally are negatively impacting labor unions.
Yep.
Labor unions, because they're taking their jobs. And I don't understand how they don't not realize this. It's a big issue. If you keep letting immigrants into the country illegally at the rate it's going at, you're going to see a lot more issues. You're going to see a lot of these labor unions not having work, and it's going to be a big problem. And these labor unions need to wake up and realize what's going on before it's too late, quite frankly.
I'm with you. Once again, thank you to VPool there. Great question there concerning, again, appreciate you tuning in here tonight, VPool. And again, make sure you tune in on Monday nights here on the Jersey First Television Network. Let's get to one more question before we continue here. Are you concerned with dealing with the Washington swamp? I know you can handle it. From YouTube user Cubano24. Mm-hmm. How do you feel should you be victorious on November the 5th and take office on January, I believe, 1st or 2nd? Do you feel comfortable, Anthony, having to go to Washington and sort of deal with that swamp of, in many instances, there's a lot of career politicians there in Washington, D.C.?
Well, I can tell you this, as a Hudson County guy, you got to be tough. Listen, I did not grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I had two very loving parents, but, the reality is I grew up poor, struggled my whole life. I know what it is to struggle. I know what it is to be poor, and there's nothing anybody could tell me to tell me I'm wrong. Listen, I could deal with anybody. I work on the streets of Newark. I inspect buildings, people's homes. I deal with people from all walks of life. A career politician is the least of my worries, okay? I'm more concerned about the people of the district and people of this country than any career politician, quite frankly.
Well said there. Another comment here from, and thank you to Gabe Castillo, tuning in live here on YouTube, the Jersey First Television Network YouTube page. There are even Democrats that are endorsing Trump, like RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard. Did you ever think we would be alive, Anthony, to see a Kennedy endorse a Trump? I didn't think I'd see that in my adult life.
That's funny you say that. There's actually, I was invited. There's going to be there's like a fair going on this Saturday in Jersey City, downtown.
Yes, the All About Downtown Fair from 1 p.m., I believe, to 9 p.m. It's a great, great fair for food, for collectibles, for everything. Yeah. So.
There's the head of the RFK movement in New Jersey is going to be there, and she's invited me to be there as the Republican candidate. So I'm going to be there.
Nice.
But back to your question, yeah, I mean, to see a Kennedy endorse a Republican, Trump's doing something right when you see that.
Absolutely. Another question here. Shout out to Alain in West New York. Appreciate you tuning in, brother. Apparently it was polling today that the Teamsters announced that they're not endorsing anybody for president. That's a first that I can remember in my adult life, that the Teamsters Union has not endorsed anybody, much less a Democrat. But apparently there was some data coming out today that internal polling is telling the Teamsters hierarchy, I guess, through the membership, that Trump's polling 58-31 over Harris. That doesn't surprise me. I think, again, with the state of the economy, the way that Kamala Harris has to own this record by her boss, the president of the United States, who, again, is sleeping on a beach probably every other day to finish out his president. I mean, this guy has spent 40% of his presidency on vacation. I mean, has there ever been a lazier president that I can recall? I don't think so. But this is a record that she has to own here. And when you look at the Teamsters Union that has been reliably a Democrat stronghold for votes for decades, the fact that they're publicly saying they're not endorsing anyone for president, I think it's an indictment of Kamala Harris and the Democrat Party at the national level, Anthony.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't believe when the head of the Teamsters Union actually spoke at the RNC. I mean, I couldn't believe that. But you know what? It doesn't surprise me because the Biden-Harris administration has just been a complete disaster. I mean, just from A to Z, you name it, everything. I mean, I can't name one good thing they've done, from the debauched departure of Afghanistan, the botched whole, under Trump, there's no way Putin invades Ukraine. There's no way. But getting back to the Teamsters, it doesn't surprise me whatsoever, because contrary to popular belief, Donald Trump is a moderate. He's not a right-wing nut, nor a conservative. He's a moderate. No, and a lot of people, this is the election of common sense. I think we need to bring common sense back into the equation. Stop voting with emotion and start voting with common sense and the money in your pocket. Because if you keep voting with emotion, we're gonna be in trouble.
Oh, I agree. And speaking of, I mean, what a tremendous turnaround. Some internal polling data that was just brought to my attention by my producer. Back in June, this is right before the debate, where Joe Biden was just an absolute disaster.
Yeah,
Biden was polling and leading 44-36 in June with the Teamsters internal polling data among union membership. Today, it's Trump 58, Harris 31. I'm going to go on record right now, ladies and gentlemen. Again, without support from union members like the Teamsters, Democrats like Kamala Harris and a lot of Democrats and a lot of vulnerable senators in some of these states, they don't get the Teamsters behind them. Again, it's really only like a 1-seat difference in the U.S. Senate. That's why the Senate race in New Jersey is very important. It almost could change the balance of the Senate makeup right now. And while Republicans still have sort of a slim lead in the House, I believe it's like 7 votes, they could add to this, especially when the Teamsters, to your point, yes, the president of the Teamsters Union spoke at the RNC, not even an invite to the DNC.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were more concerned with trans people and pronouns and all the identity and woke nonsense, instead of having like everyday union membership and people talking, because these are the people that have to feed their families in the automotive industry and other industries where union membership is really dependent on a better economy.
Correct. I mean, listen, I can't for the life of me understand how anyone could vote for what we've just been through. How could anybody want 4 more years of what we've just been through? I mean, and I don't even understand how how what the Democrats did was legal. Listen, Joe Biden won the primary election. As a matter of fact, I've won more primary elections this year than Kamala Harris. I've received more primary election votes than Kamala Harris. I know it sounds kind of funny, but it's true. It's factual. I don't even understand how they legally did that. I know Democrats have their own rules. Then what is the purpose of a primary election? But it's a scary thing. Let's see what happens, because listen, if Trump doesn't win, I'm sorry. Listen, let me go back to Curtis Bashaw. I've met him a couple times. Great guy. This guy's down to earth.
Yeah.
He's a businessman.
Yeah.
He's actually going to be at the Arts and Crafts Festival in Hoboken later this month.
Well, listen,
he's going to be there. I'm going to be there.
You'll definitely see me there. I mean, you can't miss me, right? Because I'm either rocking my proud conservative shirt that you see behind me here, or a Trump fan shirt. So I'll definitely be heading out to the Arts and Crafts Festival. But to your point about Curtis Bashaw, I felt the same thing. I interviewed him in May, right before the primary, and that was a big upset, right? Because I know that his opponent, the mayor of Mendham, Christine Glasser Serrano, was the Trump-endorsed candidate. Now, again, President President Trump endorsed her pretty late. It was like sometime in May, right around when he was at that rally in Wildwood, New Jersey.
Yeah.
But Curtis Bashaw has put out a really good campaign, and I can tell you from talking to people statewide, yes, I know that Andy Kim is energizing people, blah, blah, blah. But you look at Andy Kim's voting record, he's always voted lock and step with Nancy Pelosi, and obviously all the radical leftists in the Democrat Party at the House level. Yeah. So when you look at someone like Andy Kim, I mean, do you expect him to be any better as a U.S. Senator? I would think not.
No. Andy, I don't know the man, obviously. No disrespect to him, but he's considered a radical leftist amongst the Republican Party.
Yeah.
We don't need any more of that. We need to make a change, a radical. I wouldn't say a radical change. Again, I keep coming back to the word common sense. We need to elect common sense officials that actually work for the people of this country, of the district, the state, and the district. Listen, if I get elected, I don't care what color you are, what race you are, what country you're from, what your sexual preferences, or what gender you identify as. It doesn't matter. If you're an American citizen, you need to come first. And right now, under Democratic rule, it's not happening. It's not happening. We need to vote Republican, common sense. Stop. Put your emotions at the door. Keep your emotions at the door and start voting for common sense politicians, elected officials, because if we don't, I don't know what's going to happen with this country. I have no idea.
I'm with you. Folks, it's 7:41 here on the East Coast. You're just joining us live for tonight's special town hall with CD-8 candidate for the House of Representatives, Anthony Valdes, join us here on a special edition of a town hall during election 2024 on the Jersey First Television Network. Again, like, share, and most importantly, folks, comment right now. We're still taking questions for our candidate tonight. Again, a lot of comments here. Anthony, got a lot of fans certainly wishing you well here on the show. Right now, Alfonso, Richard, as well as Andre, Alain as well. A lot of great feedback and support for you. Obviously, you're very loved right now tonight during this town hall. So, folks, keep the comments coming. Again, if you have any questions for our candidate tonight, again, Anthony Valdes, running in the 8th Congressional District here in New Jersey for the House of Representatives. Keep the questions coming here on the program. Anthony, you brought up something very interesting about immigration. And not just as a journalist, but again, as an educator, I've taught history, American history, multiple semesters. And I'm always someone that is very much about, listen, yesterday we just celebrated Constitution Day. And I'm very much OCD about these holidays like this. I'm very big into American government. That's my specialization with my graduate degrees. And I'm always about looking at the document, arguably the best legal document next to the Magna Carta that I've ever read. And it's been sort of the blueprint for other democracies and republics throughout the world, right? Yeah. Again, the United States is still in its infancy stage, right? It's 240 years. It's still an infant on the global scale, but you look at the Constitution and you look at what it bestows people, the Bill of Rights, but what it also bestows is the importance of the executive branch to enforce sovereignty. And again, folks, I hate to sound like I'm having class here, but sovereignty is important. The preservation of our borders. We have not seen that with the highest levels of the Democrat Party. And we see it with Kamala Harris at the top of the ticket. We've seen it, obviously, with U.S. Senate candidate Andy Kim and a lot of prominent Democrats in Washington, too, Anthony. Should you be successful come up November the 5th and take office in January, what would you like to do? And again, I'm hoping that it's President Trump, the 47th president. What would you like to do to address border security, to address really this invasion of illegals that we're seeing, but more importantly, addressing this migrant crisis? What do you feel you could do as a member of the House of Representatives?
We could do a lot. But let me start from the beginning here. Listen, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they didn't have to do anything. Leave the laws that were in place and secure the border. It was being secured, enforce the laws in place, and we wouldn't have this problem. Very simple. Very simple. It's, again, common sense. We're coming back to common sense. As far as me being elected, if I were to get elected, I will definitely introduce a bill or support a bill to finish the wall and add border security. More border agents. Listen, if we allow this to continue, we're not going to have a country anymore. Okay, you have these, again, going back, a lot of these people come here for a better way of life. I understand that. But we're a country of rules and regulations. And if we fail to have it, we cease to have them, but we don't have a country anymore. It's that simple. I mean, this isn't the Wild West. We're the biggest, strongest, richest, most powerful country in the world. And there's other countries laughing at us right now. They're like, look at these guys, look what they're doing. And we need to get back, we need to get back to basics. Okay. If we don't do something about it now, look what's happening to our school system. When you have immigration illegally, you don't only have that, you have sex trafficking, you have drug trafficking, you have human trafficking, The crime rate has spiked in
Yes.
all these big cities.
That's right.
And let me say some. I am, as a proud Republican, I do believe in the Second Amendment. I think every law-abiding citizen has the right to protect themselves and be strapped with a gun. Listen, look at the biggest cities in our country, all blue cities: New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, LA, San Francisco, all have some of the strictest gun laws. And what happens? They have the most gun violence. All right, listen, a criminal will always get their hands on a weapon, no matter what. It doesn't matter. They'll find a way. That's why everybody look at West New York. Look, I'll give you a good example. West New York, they had armed guards. Who are those armed guards? They're West New York police. Have you ever heard of something going? I mean, I know it's Hudson County, but listen, I believe schools should have armed police officers.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah,
because we see year in, year out these tragedies that are honestly unnecessary, and I don't think it's a gun problem. I think it's a mental health problem, and we do need to take a serious look at mental health, and we need to start that at a young age, not when they're teenagers, not when they're in their 20s. I think we need to do something about it to start at a very young age, because look what's happening. I mean, and you got these school systems that are more worried about the sexuality of young kids instead of teaching reading, writing, and math. Okay, listen, I don't want, if I don't have any kids of my own, but listen, common sense again, kids don't have sex. Stop sexualizing kids. There's no such thing as trans kids. It doesn't exist. It's a made-up term by mentally ill adults. And the school systems out there teaching this stuff. I mean,
listen, I'm with you, Anthony. And as someone that I'm really the only journalist in New Jersey media that's been really tackling this LGBT curriculum in our public schools, that's really been sort of challenging the alphabet mob as I do, because we are overly sexualizing our kids. And we're seeing it, not just with our schools, but we're seeing it in our municipalities where, again, case in point, just down the road from me in Hoboken, the mayor of Hoboken, Ravi Bala, again, who's more concerned with pronouns than property taxes, loves to use taxpayer dollars for drag queen story time at the Hoboken Public Library. It's not a private bookstore. It's not a Barnes and Nobles. It's the Hoboken Public Library. That's with Hoboken tax dollars. And parents, and couples are protesting against Ravi Bala, and as I like to refer to them, the Lollipop Guild of their council, the minions that support them on the city council. I mean, again, it's a reflection of how misplaced the priorities are for a lot of Democrats. But let me add to something you just mentioned, because again, and here's the academic in me coming out. I get it that school shootings are tragic. We've seen shootings in other public places. Okay. But here's the truth to everybody that's always about denouncing the Second Amendment. Again, I'm a proud Second Amendment advocate. Okay. I love going to Gun for Hire, by the way, great shooting range in Woodland Park. Shout out to Anthony Calandro, a great local business, by the way. So if you're looking to go shooting, go there. But here's the truth that people don't want to ever look at. Okay. If you read data, I'm a data guy, going back to grad school, reading the Uniform Crime Reports. That's what the FBI publishes. Again, folks, that's compiled by state police departments all throughout the continental United States. Okay. The strong majority, it's not even close. It's not like, it's 55, 45 or 51. No, we're talking about over 90% of gun violence in this country is committed with handguns, not rifles. I get that rifles, seem to be the talk of the town, and it's not responsible gun owners that are the problem in the United States.
Correct.
It's not members of the NRA like myself who pays dues every year as a member. The strong majority, over 90% of gun violence in our cities is committed with handguns. By the way, illegal handguns. So very much like it's been 40 years since we announced the war on drugs. Guess what? Illegal drugs are still managing its way across our borders, and we've spent well over $25 billion to combat illegal drugs. Illegal guns are the problem. It's not responsible gun owners. It's handguns, illegal handguns that are responsible for gun violence. Not AK-47s, not massive assault rifles. Okay, folks, A mass shooting is defined by the FBI as any shooting involving 4 or more persons. It doesn't take much.
Okay.
The majority of gun violence is with handguns. I tell people all the time, stop the hysteria and demonizing responsible gun owners that have rifles and other high-capacity weapons.
Correct. Listen, the true weapon of mass destruction in this country is handguns. And it's not, like I said, like you just said, it's not coming from the lawful citizen. Most of the people in this country own guns lawfully. It's the ones that get their hands on them that are the problem, whether it's in the inner cities or the mentally unfit. Yes, I understand it's a problem. Is there some things we could change and improve on? Of course, I'm open to always having a discussion in the event that I do get elected. But I am a firm believer in the Second Amendment, and no one's going to change my mind because at the end of the day, it is common sense.
No, it certainly is. Another question here in the comment. Folks, keep them coming in the comment section. Got a question for our candidate tonight during this evening's special town hall here on the Jersey First Television Network. He is Anthony Valdes, running in the 8th Congressional District for the House of Representatives on November the 5th. He joins us here during tonight's special town hall. As a congressman, what can you do about the lack of street parking throughout all of Hudson County? It seems like it's a quality of life issue with drivers who rely on street parking. How can you improve it? Now, that's sort of a multi-layered issue, but I'll let you answer first.
Well, actually, Frank McKelly and I, we've been trying to get angled parking in town for years now. It's been done in parts of the town, and we never get any credit for it, but that's fine. But honestly, as a congressman, listen, the district has the same problems the rest of the country has: inflation, not enough low-income housing, mass transit. But as far as parking, my first duty for my district here in District 8 would be to secure funding to give to the cities, well, all of them really, mostly West New York, West New York, Union City. We need to invest in parking structures. It's happening now in West New York. It is, but it's not happening quickly enough. We've had 2 giant structured parking lots built in the past couple years, and it's still not enough. I suffer that problem because I'm the common man. I don't have. I've been trying to get a private spot somewhere for years now. It's just not available. But the other problem is, listen, real simple. Keep building. Look, for example, we have 1, 2. Just in West New York alone, we have 2 lots, 2 big parking lots that could be structured several floors. It'll help the community immensely. I'm not saying it's going to fix the problem, but it'll definitely alleviate a lot of the issues. And we just keep building parking structures. I mean, listen, a lot of money that gets divvied out to these states and counties and districts, they get siphoned out by these local politicians, whether it be a pet project here. We got to give this guy a contract because he's a big time campaign donor. No, nonsense. Listen, if I win, every money that I secure from my district, I guarantee you I will audit it and make sure that it goes to what it needs to go. And that's for the people, whether it be parking, whether it be more mass transit, whether it be more buses, more bus drivers, more housing, more social services. Okay. You see all these money, the money gets divvied out to these counties, these districts, and then it just magically disappears. And what happens? Nothing. So if in the event that I do get elected, I guarantee you right now, I'm going to audit every single dollar that goes to District 8, and I'm going to make sure it goes to where it's intended to go, to the people, for social services, parking.
All right, understood. Folks, keep the comments coming. Great live traffic right now on Facebook Live via StreamYard, as well as on Twitter Live, and also on the Jersey First Television Network YouTube page. So keep them coming. Keep the comments coming. Listen, thanks to everybody there. Great. I appreciate the support for the show and My Brand Journalism. Thank you so much for the comments there tonight, folks. Keep them coming here. Again, it's a little before 8 o'clock here on the East Coast. We'll be wrapping up shortly. And tonight's special town hall with Anthony Valdes running in the 8th Congressional District here in New Jersey for the House of Representatives. Anthony, you mentioned before about immigration. I think, I'll sort of mention an example I think that will resonate with you and a lot of our audience as well. I'm the son of immigrants as well, the son of a Cuban mother, the son of a Colombian father, obviously both leaving different parts of Latin America, one because of communism and the ill effects of what communism has done to Latin America, and certainly bad economies like my dad left in Colombia. But what's interesting about, and I really want to get your thoughts on this, because again, as a son of immigrants, when I talk to many of my peers, whether it's in academia, in journalism, they just feel, Fernando, you're very harsh when it comes to immigration. It seems like you're not very compassionate. And my thoughts are always simple. And here's a scenario. I'm going to paint you a picture and tell me if it doesn't strike you as unique. If I decided to go visit, and I do regularly, I go with my family to visit my father's side of the family in Colombia, many aunts and uncles, many, many cousins. Anthony, if I decide to just say, you know what, F this, I'm going to go live in Colombia. I'm going to do Real Talk on Monday nights from Colombia, maybe Bogota, whatever. I love the weather there. It's 65 degrees all year. And I just decided to visit, and I just said, stay there. Okay? I'm an American citizen. I'm not a Colombian citizen. Okay? And I decided to, okay, let me look for an apartment. Let's say I decide to, I don't know, maybe I'm having difficulty finding a job in addition to what I'm doing. Maybe I want to go try to apply for social services. How about maybe if I wanted to say, well, I'm living here, maybe I'm working here, I'm paying taxes here, I should have the right to vote in Colombia. I should have the right to, guess what, enroll at La Universidad de Santa Fe in Bogota or other great universities that are in, higher education in the country of Colombia. You know what's going to happen to me if I decide to say, hey, you know what, let me apply for social services. Oh, I'm already living here. Let me apply for a driver's license to drive in, I don't know, Bogota, Barranquilla, Bucaramanga, Medellin, wherever, and I decide to apply for a driver's license. Or if I decide to enroll in college and get another graduate degree, you know what's going to happen to me, Anthony? I'll give you a spoiler, but I'll have you answer the question. What do you think is going to happen to Fernando Uribe if he decides to do that in Colombia?
Well, I'm sure, you'd be in for a rude awakening. They'd probably just laugh at you and deport you right then and there.
Okay. Is anybody going to accuse the Republic of Colombia as being racist or xenophobic or bigoted against an immigrant?
I don't think so. Again, it's common sense. You can't be an immigrant illegally in another country and expect the government to just give you everything. I mean, that's not what this country is about. This country, like our parents came here for a better way of life to work. A lot of the immigrants now, like I said, I've said before, I feel for these people because they do come here for a better way of life. But there's a percentage of them that are coming here just to reap the benefits of everything, and whatever money that comes their way doesn't stay here, goes back to their country, and that's just the reality of it. That's just the reality. And like I said before, immigration is negatively impacting labor unions, and these labor unions, like the Teamsters, they better start voting Republican if they know what's good for them.
Fair enough. Another question here. Once again, from V-Pool. Thank you again, V-Pool, for watching on Facebook Live or StreamYard. What are your views on college loan forgiveness? Do you believe it will hurt the economy or be beneficial?
Like I said, there's pros and cons, but in the long, listen, listen, people who got the loan forgiveness, good for them. I don't like it. I don't think the government should be paying those things off. Those people applied for them. Listen, is somebody going to pay off my credit card debt? I would love for the government to pay off my bills and my credit card debt. I mean, come on. But let's be realistic again. I think it's a bad idea. Obviously, it's helped those people who did get loan forgiveness. But what about the millions of people who had to suffer and pay their loans and decide, well, do I pay my loans or do I eat this week? And I think it's unfair. There's so much wasteful spending at the federal level. I think a lot of these social programs are possible, but there's so much wasteful spending. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, with all the issues in our country, and we've given Ukraine $300 billion in the past few years, and that's not counting military equipment. I mean, things are getting out of hand here. I mean, things are so out of hand, so out of touch with reality. Like I said, we need common sense officials to do the right thing for the people of this country, because it's just not happening. It's not happening, and that's why I'm running.
And Having said that, folks, it is exactly 8 o'clock here on the East Coast. If you're just joining us live for this special town hall here on the Jersey First Television Network, we welcome you here. As my guest this evening is the 8th Congressional District candidate for the Republican Party here in the House of Representatives in New Jersey, Anthony Valdes, join us live right now here on Jersey First TV. Folks, keep the comments coming. Again, if you have a question for Anthony, we'll be wrapping up shortly. Please get them in. I'll be more than happy to get some questions as well. Obviously, as we're wrapping up shortly. Again, great traffic tonight, as you can see it here. Look at the numbers on Facebook Live, as well as YouTube, on Twitter Live as well. Folks, share it right now as we are live here with Anthony Valdes, the Republican candidate running in the 8th Congressional District here in New Jersey. Another comment here from Cubano24 on YouTube. Interesting comment here. Government doesn't manufacture or sell anything. When they offer to pay for something, the money will be taken away from some other place. You know what? That's a fair point there by Cubano24. Shout out to him for a great observation there. Your thoughts on that?
He's 100% right. Listen, nothing's free. Nothing's free in this world. You know, the whole world runs off trade, economy, capitalism. And listen, nothing's free. Nothing is free in this world. And, you know, things are getting tougher. Every day, things are getting tougher. You go buy groceries, everything's higher. Your bill, rent's going up, utility bills, healthcare, car insurance, you name it. Everything is up because of the poor policies of the Biden and Harris administration and Democrats in general. We need to change that. And if I could just remind everybody, mail-in ballots are going out soon. So if you are one of those people who vote by mail, please get those in as soon as possible. And we do have early voting this year. I believe there's like 10 days, which is crazy in my opinion. But I think I believe it starts the second Saturday before the election, if my memory is correct.
I believe it'll be right around a little before Halloween weekend. Yes.
Yeah. So listen, again, am I the perfect candidate? No. I know I have my faults like anybody else. I'm a human being. But listen, I care about West New York. I care about the county. And I really care about the people. I'm a public servant. And I've been doing it for over 13 years. And if you vote for me, I promise you that the people will come first. Not special interests, not lobbyists, not corporations, and certainly not other countries. The American people will come first under my watch. I guarantee it.
And before we call it a night here on the special town hall here on the Jersey First Television Network. Once again, folks, my guest here, it's a little after 8 o'clock on the East Coast. It is Anthony Valdes, the Republican candidate running in the 8th Congressional District coming up for November the 5th. Anthony, any social media handles, any way for, again, with 47 days to go, anyone that's interested in donating their time and or money to your campaign, how can they reach you?
AnthonyValdes.com. They could always reach me on Facebook. Anthony Valdes. You could always reach me on. I'm the administrator of the admin of West New York Wakes Up. I know there's a lot of people on there right now, probably wanting me to fail miserably, but that's okay. That's life. That's life. That's life. Like I said, listen, we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different beliefs, different opinions, but that's what makes this country so great. That we're all allowed to have different opinions, and we could express them freely without repercussions. And that's what life's about here in the United States.
Anthony, one more question here. Actually, two more questions. Thank you, Lisette, for tuning in here. I know you're a big fan of the show, and of course, a big fan of the Jersey First Television Network, and we appreciate your support here every week. What is the biggest issue in West New York? I know it's obviously that's not the only town in the district, but I know you live in West New York. Yeah. You're a big part of what goes on in West New York. What do you think is the biggest issue right now in your hometown?
Without question, it's parking. Going back to parking. Parking is the number one issue in this town. A lot of people might say school system, the streets. Listen, the streets are pretty clean. I work on the streets of Newark. Big difference. It's parking. It's parking. Parking is by far the biggest issue. And I'll tell you why. They keep building and building. When I was a kid growing up here in West New York, we had factories everywhere, embroidery. Embroidery factories everywhere. They're all gone. What do we have there now? We have multiple dwelling buildings with not enough parking underneath. And they they don't make enough they don't make enough parking. They just keep building and building and building. And so parking is the number one issue. The other issue is rent. I mean, I understand rent control is there's pros and cons to rent control, but rent control, we do need rent control because a lot of people will be on the streets. But unfortunately, rent in general is, and you know, the free market is the free market. Rent is what it is. But in the rent control buildings, you know, we do need it for, you know, seniors, low income families. It is a thing. But I think we need to take a look at that in West New York and make sure that the rent control registrations are correct. I know building owners aren't going to want to hear that.
Sure. well, I'll say this again, and I always mention it. You know, I grew up on the mean streets of West New York, Memorial, Tiger, through and through. I still, believe it or not, it's interesting. I still rock my class of 93 t-shirt. It fits me perfectly. I'm still rocking it out there. I'm still rocking my Memorial gear all these years, and I'm a proud Tiger. Yeah. Having said that, I don't recognize West New York, right? I mean, like a lot of North Hudson County, when you go on the waterfront, whether you go on Boulevard East, Palisade, Hudson, even Tunnelly Avenue, right? I mean, the amount of condos, high luxury rentals, I mean, it's becoming a problem. And I get it. Listen, this is an attractive area to move to. Yeah. It's convenient. Anyone that couldn't afford New York City moved to Brooklyn. Right. Whoever couldn't afford Brooklyn moved to downtown Jersey City, and they just sort of worked their way north, right, into the Heights, into Weehawken, whatever. It just seems like, listen, this is the place to live. This is the place to go to. I get all that. But like everything else, whether it's transportation, whether it's parking, whether it's cost of living, these are all issues I think that certainly I think resonate with residents. One last question here before we call it a night. Anthony, will you quit your day job if you get elected in CD-8?
I would have to, yes.
Okay.
I would ask for a 2-year leave of absence, and go from there. Yes, yes. I'd have no choice but to resign from my present job.
Okay. Well,
let me say one more thing about West New York. You know, as a big fat guy myself, we have the best restaurants in West New York.
I don't disagree. Listen, I think take your pick, whatever cuisine. There's no shortage of them in West New York, Union City, where I live, nearby Weehawken, North Bergen. I think, listen, if you're looking to eat, Northern Hudson County, I would argue, is the best destination. Guttenberg, even Secaucus, I would argue, a lot of great selections when it comes to our cuisine. Folks, we're just coming up here as we're wrapping up tonight's special town hall on the Jersey First Television Network with my guest this evening, Anthony Valdes. He is running as a Republican candidate in the 8th Congressional District. Anthony, I want to thank you for your time tonight. I think we've had a great conversation. Yeah. Our viewers tonight have gotten to know Anthony Valdes, the candidate. And I always do this on Real Talk, but I'll do this right now with you. Let's have a quick lightning round to get to know the guy. We've talked to Anthony, the candidate. Let's talk to Anthony, the guy. So lightning round starts now. Favorite MLB team?
Yankees.
All right, let's go Yankees. Hopefully, maybe it's October. We haven't had a lot of great October for 15 years. We'll see.
It's been ugly for a long time. What can I say?
Yes. The NFL.
Giants, unfortunately.
Okay, and listen, by the way, I'm glad the Giants are doing poorly because it makes the Cowboy Giants ticket next Thursday cheaper to buy. And let's be honest, it's always a Cowboy home game anyway. With
pretty much, yeah.
It's been like that for a while. NHL.
Not an NHL fan.
Okay, interesting. Okay, NBA.
I've tried to get into it. I just can't.
Anthony, there's nothing more enjoyable and affordable in this economy.
Oh yeah.
Sports than going to a hockey game. I tell people all the time, I'm a Devil fan. Yeah. Love going to Prudential. It's a great place to watch hockey. It's a great place to meet people. The concessions are still affordable. And for anyone that's not sold on it, go to Prudential. NBA.
Unfortunately, Knicks fan.
Well, they're turning it around, right? In the Big Apple. Mecca. That is Madison Square. We'll see.
They had no business losing to the Pacers in the playoffs.
Yeah, that was
tough. They were just worn out. They were worn out at that point.
They were exhausted after two tough rounds. Yeah. College basketball in New Jersey. Any team?
Don't have one.
Okay. Marvel or DC movies?
Marvel.
Okay. Favorite Marvel character?
I don't have one, but I guess I'd have to say Spider-Man. He's probably the funniest.
Okay, interesting. And folks, and for everyone that's curious, October the 1st, streaming on Disney Plus will be Wolverine and Deadpool, that great blockbuster movie from the summer. It's broken box office records, streaming live on Disney first.
You know what? I forgot about Deadpool. Forgot about that.
Yeah, Disney Plus, October 1st, Deadpool and Wolverine premieres on October 1st. So I'll be unavailable on October 1st. I went to see it in the theaters. I'll be unavailable on October 1st. Yeah. Favorite cuisine and restaurant?
Cuban and El Único in Union City, because you could get a whole plate for $6.
That's right. Oh my gosh, forgot about that. All right. Favorite American president?
Donald Trump.
Okay, interesting. I'm a Reagan guy. Donald Trump's not far behind as well. So I appreciate the candor. Folks, that's Anthony Valdes, not just a regular guy, but the candidate. He is the Republican candidate running in the 8th Congressional District. Coming up, obviously, early voting begins at the end of October. Mail-in ballots do begin later on in September, if not early October. Folks, obviously, you can go to the Division of Elections website for more information. Again, folks, you have options. Go and vote. Be a part of the process coming up, as this election is arguably the most consequential election in our adult lives coming up here on November the 5th. And certainly I'm hoping to go to Washington like I did 8 years ago for the 45th president's inauguration. I'm hoping to see the 47th president's inauguration as he gets reelected, hopefully, coming up on November the 5th. Anthony, you've been a great guest. I really appreciate the conversation today, learning about your campaign, obviously for our viewers tonight, also learning about your campaign as well. I'll give you the last word here tonight on this special town hall.
Fernando, thank you again for having me. Listen, every 4 years, everybody says this is the most important election of our lives. Well, guess what? This year it is. Everybody come out and vote. Come out and vote this election season, and let's do the right thing, and let's vote Republican. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Folks, he is Anthony Valdes, the Republican candidate running in the 8th Congressional District for the House of Representatives in 2024. Anthony, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck on the campaign trails, and we appreciate you being a fan of the Jersey First Television Network.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Folks, there he is. Again, great special town hall here tonight on the Jersey First Television Network. If you're just tuning in live, folks, just takes 2 seconds. Like, comment, and share tonight's episode. Obviously, the replay will be available after we go off the air in just a few moments. Do us a favor. Let everyone know how much you enjoy the Jersey First Television Network. And, of course, all our great programming, of course, starting with tonight's special town hall with Anthony Valdes, once again, the Republican candidate running for the 8th Congressional District in the House of Representatives. Folks, that's our show for tonight here. Again, you can tune in every Monday night for Real Talk. And, of course, make sure you check us out on all of our great social media platforms for Jersey First TV. Make sure you like us on Facebook, of course. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And without a doubt, of course, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. If you haven't done so already, subscribe. You'll be automatically notified of all the outstanding content brought to you by the Jersey First Television Network. And, folks, whether you get your podcast on Spotify or SoundCloud, download Jersey First and take it with you, whether you're going clothes shopping, running errands, going to the bank, walking your dog, whatever it is you're doing, you're on your smartphone. I bet you are. Check out Jersey First TV wherever you go. And, folks, I can't say enough what a privilege it is to be on the dream team of Garden State Media. That's right, folks. It's Jersey First TV, the Jersey First Television Network, of course. Brand new episodes of the Nader Narrative premiere every Thursday, hosted by the amazing Elizabeth Nader. And brand new episodes of Bridging the Gap with AJ Malillo and Stephen Rombolo premiere every Thursday as well. And brand new episodes of Real Talk with Fernando Uribe premiere every Monday night. Check your local listings for start times. Folks, special reminder, this Monday, my guest will be interim president at New Jersey City University, Andres Acebo. He's got a lot to say about what's going on in his administration. Certainly, we'll talk about all the unfair attacks he's been subjected to by that awful garbage news site, the Jersey Journal, and much more. We'll talk about that this Monday Night Live, folks, on Real Talk with Andres Acebo, the interim president at New Jersey City University. Folks, once again, we appreciate you tuning in tonight. I can't say enough. Once we go off the air, like, comment, and share the replay for tonight's special town hall with Anthony Valdes, the Republican candidate running in CD-8 for the House of Representatives. Folks, again, you have options coming up on November the 5th. Early voting starts in October. Mail-in ballots will be going out, I think, at the end of this month. So, again, folks, get involved in the process. Vote. That's the only way your voice is heard. Make sure you get out there and vote. Don't take your vote for granted, folks. We never should. And make sure we keep our republic thriving, not just during this election cycle, but all for the future ones as well. Folks, always remember, if it's unbiased, unfiltered, and unafraid, it's always Fernando Uribe right here on the Jersey First Television Network. Again, I want to thank you all for tuning in here for this special town hall. As I mentioned before, tune into all of our great social media platforms with the Jersey First Television Network. And I'll see you this Monday for another live edition of Real Talk right here with Jersey First TV. Folks, please party responsibly. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your neighbors. Take care of all the elderly residents around you. Look after your kids. And certainly, folks, I can't say enough, thank you for supporting the outstanding journalism that's always brought to you here on the Jersey First Television Network. And of course, thank you for tuning in every Monday night, because unlike other journalists, it's always real traffic because it's real talk. We'll see you folks next time here during this election season, and we'll see you this Monday night on Real Talk with Fernando Uribe via Jersey First TV. Folks, have a great rest of your week, and thank you for tuning in here to the special town hall on the Jersey First Television Network. Have a great night, everyone.